All right, yesterday I did a video breaking down playoff teams in the Eastern Conference. In this video, I'm going to look at the Western Conference playoff contenders, starting with who would be the number one seed in the West if the playoffs were starting today, the T-Wolves. I don't have a ton of faith in this squad in the postseason. Gobert is a defensive juggernaut, except when he faces Joker and Anthony Davis. Cat can score in bunches, but can he do it in games that actually matter? Anthony Edwards still hasn't taken that leap to superstar level. T-Wolves are the best defensive team on paper, but I don't think they have the offensive firepower to survive a 7-game series. Wolves have also had a lot of injury luck. They've been the healthiest team in the NBA. Not sure they can maintain that. This team has had a lot go right for them so far this season. And what's interesting is if you look at the current odds to win the NBA championship, they're at plus 2,200 to win it all, which is the odds makers not really giving them much of a shot. Plus 2,200 odds for a team that is the clear favorite to win their division and lock up home court advantage in the opening round. I agree with the market, which is basically saying they don't think they'll do anything in the playoffs, but if you like Minnesota and believe in them, right now is probably the time to bet their future prices because I can't imagine you'll get a better odds than right now at plus 2,200 to win the West. It's a pretty big number for a team that's a decent favorite to win the division and have home court advantage in the opening round. Next up is one of my favorite teams, mainly because they've been my most profitable team to bet on since last season. But before I get to them, if you want bets that I make sent directly to you in real time, I have a fan basis storefront link in my bio on TikTok or in the description below this video on YouTube. I send out bets that I make, but also bets made from my network of pro betting syndicates that I call source plays. This is what was sent out last night for NHL. You can get sport-specific packages or an all-sports package. Remember to use code LEFTY for 50% off any packages. That promo code is only good for a few more days, so take advantage of it now. The Thunder finished last season as the most profitable team against the spread. So far this season, their second most profitable team. I bet OKC to win the division before the season started. This is probably the most versatile team in the league. They can defend with the league leader in steals, SGA. Thunder have the most blocks of any team. The downside is they're still very young, and young teams tend to struggle on the road, and the Thunder's home-away splits show this. Big fan of Josh Giddey. He gives a ton of effort, but handles the ball way too sloppily. Lou Dort, pesky defender, who's kind of become a solid perimeter shooter. Chet Holmgren's kind of regressed a little bit from earlier this season, and it's because teams have figured him out. They now just play up on him and force him to put the ball on the floor and drive where he's soft with the ball. The guy gets the ball ripped from him more than any other player in the league. Main question I have with OKC, or main concern is, can SGA carry them? And then next, can Jalen Williams play defense for a whole playoff series, and do they have enough depth on their bench? They have a ton of draft picks stockpiled, but didn't put them to use trading for anyone besides Gordon Hayward, who is hurt most of the time and unfortunately past his prime, which makes me feel old because I remember him at Butler like it was yesterday. The Thunder are close, maybe a year or two away. They need to find a second star player to help SGA and get him out of double teams. This Thunder team reminds me a lot of the Grizzlies team 2 years ago. Great regular season team, really good against the spread, but not sure they're capable of the bright lights on the big stage in the playoffs, at least not yet anyway. Next up, the Clip Show. Odds makers have them as the favorite to win the West. I like this Clippers team. If I had to pick a Western Conference champ, this would be the team, but it's really tough to ignore Harden's postseason history of just disappearing in the most crucial games. And plus, can we really expect Paul George and Kawhi to hold up in the postseason and play every game? It's not like it can really use load management in the playoffs, but I think they get the number one seed. That'd make a huge difference. I'm really starting to like their bench. I like the role that they give in Russell Westbrook. I would be all over the Clippers if I knew they'd have a healthy playoff version of Kawhi. And this is it for this team. They're aging fast. I can't see, back-to-back seasons where Kawhi, PG, and even Zubac stay healthy. But, plus I'm sure Harden's going to screw it up in Game 6 at home like he always does. But the Clippers are my pick out of the West. The defending champs are priced close to the Clippers, the Denver Nuggets. I bet the Nuggets last year to win it all, and because they cashed that ticket for me, I'm forever grateful, but something's going on in Denver right now. Their vibe just seems off. They look tired most nights, even at home when it's supposed to be the other team that looks gassed. But they do have Joker, who's probably the only player that can have a triple-double and make it look like an off night. Jamal Murray, KCP, they're banged up. They have no bench. I mean, Reggie Jackson's their sixth man off the bench. Christian Braun has regressed from what his expectations were. Just can't see this team repeating unless, Jokic puts the team on his back, which is possible, but just seems like too hard of a task. They need to find a bench, and their lack of depth has me selling on this team. Next up, we got the Phoenix Suns, a team that really, they can beat anyone in the league on any given night, then the very next night lose to a bottom of the league team. They're made out of porcelain and don't play enough defense for me to think they'll be any type of contender come April. Similar to Denver, the Suns have no bench, which is a problem when your starters can't stay on the floor without rolling an ankle. And hate to say it, that I told you so, but I called it before the season started in the Discord. I bet under Suns 53.5 wins, and the reason was simple: no depth and injury-prone stars. They're at 33 wins now and don't see them winning 21 out of their last 27 games. Another current 33-win team is the Pelicans. This team is interesting. Zion, Ingram, and Herb Jones on the same court together looks really good. Like their head coach, Willie Green. It's a very capable team, but this story is going to come down to health and a lack of a good big. Valanciunas has declined, especially on defense. They could definitely win a series or two just on talent alone, but too much inconsistency makes me hesitant to back them in any future markets. A team I like is the Mavs. Their last 10 games, they've looked really good, blowing out teams and actually playing some defense. I like the addition of Gafford at the deadline. He's a perfect fit. He's comfortable playing in a fast offensive system and still gives you a real rim protector. If they had any other coach in the league besides Jason Kidd, I would have already bet the Mavs in some way. And the price is definitely right for them at plus 1,400, but there's just way too many pathways for them to screw it up. If Kidd doesn't screw it up himself, then Kyrie could screw it up. If he doesn't, then Luka could get in a bad mood and screw it up. But I will be looking to target the Mavs as a play-on team in certain spots after the break. Next up, the Kings. Mystery to me. I can't figure out what's wrong with this team, but something's wrong. De'Aaron Fox has been average. Kevin Huerter doesn't even look like the same shooter as just a year ago, and their bench is horrible. Don't understand why this Kings team has regressed so much. On my power ratings, I've downgraded this Kings team more than any other team in the league over the past month. It's the same roster as last year. It's not like they're riddled with injuries. Makes no sense, but I do like the Kings. I like the coach and the system. Maybe it is a good buy low spot for them, and they can turn it around. I don't know, but for right now, it's a wait and see for me. Next up, LeBron and company. I don't love the Lakers, but they made it to the conference finals last year with a team that was in much worse shape than this current team they have. I don't like teams that rely too heavily on just scoring. You need to be able to get stops in the playoffs, and the Lakers declined defensively pretty big. LeBron's amazing at 39 years old, but his health and defense are a big concern. LeBron's teams are always overpriced in the future markets because he has such a big betting bandwagon, but I think there's value at plus 1,400 to win the West, assuming they make the playoffs. They're a talented veteran squad, and remember, when betting futures, you don't necessarily need them to win the bet in order to win money. You just need to get them into a good spot where you can hedge or have equity to hedge, and that's what I mean about a team having value. I don't see the Lakers as huge underdogs to anyone in the West in a 7-game series. Last team that I think that's worth discussing is Golden State, a team that I thought was dead a month ago, but is all of a sudden playing their best version of itself right before the All-Star break. When they have their A game, they look as good as any team in the league. In fact, I'd argue that their A game is the best in the league, but they play way below expectation when playing bad teams. They look very uninterested at times, and that's why they'll lose in bunches. I think Kerr is a good coach, but how many different lineups and rotations is he going to experiment with until he finds the one? Every night there's a surprise in the lineup. I think CP3 is a bad fit for this team, which isn't a shocker, and I think we're going to see Kerr continue to mess around with the lineups and rotations to give CP3 more minutes, and that's probably not good for them. I'd love to see Curry carry this team. Love watching him when he's on. The best shooter I'll probably ever see in my lifetime. But that's going to wrap this Western Conference Playoff Contender preview video. Just under 10 minutes if you watch to the end. I appreciate you. If you could give this video a like or a thumbs up, that'd be great. Until next time, good luck with your bets.